the next speaker that I'm going to introduce is Mr. Marcus Mavakala. I'm going to read a little bit about him. Marcus started his career as a banker for Washington Mutual after obtaining several licenses, including Series 6 and 63, life and a real estate sales agent license in 2005. He's the CEO of Beach Capital, an up-and-coming leader in the SBA lending field with supreme mastery in acquisition, working capital expansion, buy or build commercial real estate, refinancing of debt or restructuring, partners, buyouts, and succession planning with multiple SBA products. He's going to tell us why it is important to maintain a good credit score. A lot of people neglect this, but you know, this credit score is like a tattoo. So, you know, wherever you go, when they pull up your what do you call that? Your background, they pull out your history, it just pops up. And a lot of people neglect it. So I really want us to pay attention to whatever is going to tell us tonight. And if you have to fix your credit score, please do so because it's going to haunt you. I know what I'm saying, I'll be there. So please help me welcome Mr. Marcus Mavakala, who is coming forward.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. It's really a pleasure to be among you tonight. I see a lot of faces, a lot of people that I know, great people. Before I really came in with a presentation, like slides and all that stuff. But I realized that we don't do enough. We don't tell our stories. People hear about our degrees, our achievements, and all of that other stuff without knowing how we got where we got. So instead of me telling you about my achievements, I want to tell you about my story, about why I'm here today and why I do what I do. So picture this. Years ago, before I became a banker, I was a manager in a corporate American company. I'll just say that. I went to my first meeting. When I got there, when I first got promoted, I was excited, and I went to my first manager's meeting. When I got there, I looked around the parking lot. Everyone was driving a brand new car. And I was driving my mother's beat-up Dodge Caravan. And needless to say, I felt really small. But I knew that I didn't get there by accident. So when I was in that room, I was me. I was the man that got promoted over 12 other people to be in that room. So therefore, I belong. But I knew I had to match who I was inside, who other people saw me as. Because as we all know, first impression lasts. First impression matters. So when I left that meeting, I went home. I studied. I studied very hard. I understood about credit. But before that, I said, let me go see if I can get a car. The weekend after that, I went to the dealership. And I pulled my credit, came back, they said, oh my God, I have never seen credit this bad. What have you been doing? I said, man, I had no idea how this credit stuff works. All I knew was I had bought, they gave it to me, I took it home, I didn't know if I had to pay back, whatever I had to do. I had just had a repo, right? So the man told me, he said, listen, you just had a repo, your credit's so bad, I don't even know if anybody will give you the car. He said, well, you know what, you gotta fix your credit. I said, okay. I went home, I started again, I figured out what to do. I worked on my credit. 3 months later, I had a great credit. I went back, I bought a BMW. As a young man, that was an achievement. I was like, well, okay, I got this thing. And people around me that knew that I had such bad credit started asking me, how did you do it? How do you buy such a nice car? Now you're living in a nice apartment. I said, well, I learned this thing called credit repair. I repair my own credit. I said, really? You can do that? I said, well, I studied. I did it. I can do it for you. I did it for a few people for free. And as I was doing this, I met somebody else that was an insurance agent. He needed his credit fixed. I told him my story. He said, well, why are you still working for these people? Why don't you quit your job, fix people credit, I'll tell you how to sell insurance, and you can make a lot of money like that. I said, of course. Quit my job, started selling insurance. Sold insurance door to door in the widest of all neighborhoods. Needless to say, it was very hard. So when I did that, I learned to sell financial products. So that was something. It was as if there was a power behind everywhere I was going. God was a hand guiding me in doing all these things. So as I learned insurance, I was recruited by a bank to come work for them to sell insurance products. As I worked for this bank, they put me in this heavy, very, I would say, it's kind of a boot camp for financial services people. So I went in, I learned about corporations, LLCs, all different kinds of financial products for 3 months before I could sit before a customer. So it really taught me a lot. As I worked there, I started seeing some people that would come in and they would deposit really large checks. And most of them were people that didn't drive really nice cars, and some of them were people that drove really nice cars. And I started to study. The people that didn't really drive the nicest of cars had much more money in the bank than the people that drove the nicest car. And I started to learn the patterns, the things that they did. And I started to learn, okay, these people, they put money in CDs, they buy annuities, they buy insurance products. These people just deposit checks to the bank and they spend it, they drive nice cars and live in nice homes. I started to see the patterns of how wealth is created. That was pretty good. And then I met some people that sold real estate. They were the guys that drove the nicest of cars, but they had to run to the bank real quick to deposit that big checks before things started bouncing. But I liked the money they were making, so I said, let me go sell real estate. I went and I did that. It was good. I made some good money. But after that, the market crashed. After I acquired some real estate myself, and not really learning much of the lessons I learned before, I started living the big life, spending the money, living big. Bought some houses, but when the market crashed, I lost it all. Got it all taken away from me. 2008, I just started over. But what I learned is that because of the knowledge I had about financial products, because of the knowledge I had about credit, I was able to rebuild. I was able to bounce back, get back on my feet. And today, that's what I do. I help people, number one, get their credit together, maintain their credit, and be able to obtain capital to start, buy a business, or buy real estate or commercial real estate. And those two things together, I found, are the pillars to wealth building. Now I know Emmanuel asked me to speak about why it's good to have good credit. I'm here to tell you about a big secret. And this secret is practiced in a lot of other immigrants community, and we're catching up, but we have a little time we need to get on. And the secret is this: the only reason you want good credit is so you can use it to build business credit. Because business credit That's now report to your personal credit. Business credit is the credit you use to buy businesses, to acquire companies. You see, I've started a few companies in my time, but I learned something. It takes about 5 years before you get it off the ground. But if you have the right credit, you can buy a business that has been in business for 5 years for a lot less than it will take you to start one. So when you have the right business credit and the right knowledge, you can use your credit as capital. In the way you can use your credit to start building your wealth. So you can use your credit to get enough credit to be able to invest in buying businesses. And that's the real wealth. Being able to own companies, being able to make money while you sleep. If you can do that, then you can build true wealth. So that's my message today. I'm here to tell you that the real key to having great credit is not about having credit cards or buying things or whatsoever. It's so you can use it as leverage. Because leverage is the key to wealth. I'll give you an example. If you have $50,000, we both have $50,000. You can use your $50,000 to start a business. I can use my $50,000 to buy a business that brings in a $500,000 business. You and I did the same exact thing, but our return will be my return will be much higher than yours. So leverage is how you build wealth. How we buy back all this time, all these years of us being blocked for having access. We can save that time. We can trust the time to quickly achieve this goal if we understand how we can leverage our credit. Because with that, we can achieve faster than we will if we have to do it slowly by saving. Because the time it takes to save $500,000 versus the time it takes to save $50,000, I don't have to tell you, you are very smart people. You know, there's a world of difference there. So that's my key. Let's build wealth. Let's be very serious about building wealth. Building credit, building a strong credit profile is not about buying things. It's not about credit cards. It's about using that credit to acquire hotels, restaurants, other businesses that will bring money in your pocket while you sleep. If you can do that, you will build wealth. I know of this for myself. I know that I help people do this every day of my life. I have customers that buy franchise after franchise every year. They keep on adding. And I've seen them go from startups to very wealthy people. And that's what I do. So I know it works. My customers will tell you that so. So that's my message for tonight. Let's build wealth. Let's get there quickly. We are starting from very, very behind. So let's get there quickly. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Just before you go, I would like to ask anyone if you have a question, is going to be able to answer quickly. Now building credit makes more sense to me. It's so important. Yeah, this gentleman with a question.
Yes. I'm sorry?
If you have like a bankruptcy, yes.
Okay.
What you decide to credit bureau to fix it.
Okay, so when you see bankruptcy reported to your credit, it's usually reported by the U.S. Bankruptcy Court, right? U.S. Bankruptcy Court does not exist. There's no such a court in the USA. So by disputing that information, and I would like to get the right information from the U.S. Bankruptcy Court that proves this bankruptcy happened. That alone can get that off your credit. Now let me explain something. Credit repair is not about running away from your debt. Okay? Credit repair is not about running away from your debt. Credit repair is about disputing items off your credit that are holding you back so that you can remove them according to the law to give you a start, to give you an opportunity to start again. So when you remove that bankruptcy off your credit, it just saves you time, but it doesn't mean that it goes away. It's still in the records. It's just that it won't be seen on your credit. That's all. Okay, this is a great question. Motivation is about goals, I think. If you set up goals for yourself, when you wake up in the morning and you say, this is where I need to be, and you look and you see how far you are, and then you go there, right? I believe that we create our lives as we go along. And I'll tell you why I say that. Years ago, I wrote down the age at which I will become a millionaire for the first time in my life. When I did become a millionaire, I opened up that book. It was the exact same time that I said that. So making a plan is very important. When the Bible says in Habakkuk 2:2, make a plan and make it simple, it's really that simple. Make a plan and make it simple. And that's how it goes. Thank you.